Recording is on.
Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Uyuni Community Hours edition, September edition this time. My name is Raul Osuna and I am one of the release engineers for Uyuni. So let's see the agenda for today. First of all, I will be talking about Uyuni 25.10, which is supposed to be the next release of Uyuni, what's new and what's coming. Then I am happy to be presenting, to be letting the Google Summer of Code students present their projects. So first of all, it will be Kathy with support for Ubuntu Snap in Uyuni. And she's in a very inconvenient time zone in Seattle. So she was so kind to make a recording. So I will be playing the video that she shared with me, and I will using my microphone with my speaker. So we tested the audio settings, but let me know if something is not completely okay. You may need to turn up the volume for that one. So already warning you. Then the second one will be Siwen with Containerized Uyuni Event Processor. And last but not least, Yang will be presenting RBAC, role-based access control, the long-awaited feature. So without further ado, let's start it with Uyuni 25.10. What's new? So well, in theory, we would like to release around mid of October. Well, you know that this can always be spoiled, and you never know, and it's not the first time that there are delays. But we really want to make a release around mid October. Um, the main thing is going to be the host OS change for the server and proxy from the previous libmicro 5.5 to Tumbleweed, which OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, which was the approved operating system by the community. Well, remember that as usual, you can run its containers. You can run Union wherever you want to, and wherever you find it to be properly running. And actually, there are community members running it on top of Ubuntu Debian. When we say, or we shouldn't say supported, but when we say that, even if accidentally, we mean validated. It means that it is being validated by us to be working. It should work elsewhere. So if you find issues in a different operating system, you are of course welcome to report them, and we will try our best to fix it on no matter which operating system it is. But if you want me to use the word official, if what is will be shown in the documentation will be about Tumbleweed. So I am going to try to test the migration with the MGR ADM backup tool. There is a typo actually in the slides. I will fix it later. So this is already in the documentation. This tool is available since at least the 25.05 version, I believe. But anyway, for the migration, you need to be on the last supported release, which is .07. And if you go to the docs of MGR ADM backup, so it is called backup and restore docs, and I shared the link there in the chat before. You can read a little bit about how it will go. So basically, you will make a backup. Um, you will then install a new machine with Tumbleweed. Actually, it could be even reinstall your old Uyuni machine, and then you will restore on top of Tumbleweed the containers, and with all the documentation that is provided in MGR the ADM tool. That should be it. Of course, I need to test this myself, and our QE will probably test this as well. And other than saying that, yeah, you have to be on the latest release, and nothing else that I can think of. I will, before going to questions, I will uh, quickly go into the other points that will be coming in the next release. So finally, there is going to be bulk product migration via System Set Manager. So for example, if you have SUSE Linux Enterprise clients or LEAP clients and you want to migrate a bunch of them, So you should be able to do that all at once and not one by one. And another feature is going to be a containerized Kiwi image build support. And another one that maybe is not the most important for the community, but there could be some community users that are using SUSE Linux Enterprise and have a valid subscription and want to upload support data for the Uyuni server that is not supported per se by this, but maybe for whatever the support config would be helpful. So in that case, this is in the next release, this is going to be automated and it can be uploaded. And of course, expect security updates as usual. So with that, I am going to check the chat if there are any questions. Hopefully the recording will catch the URL about the documentation that I mentioned before. But if not, please let me know. Do you have any question about the upcoming release? Okay, it doesn't look like. So I would say we go to the Google Summer of Code projects. First of all is support for Ubuntu Snap packages in Uyuni. And as I said, I have a recording for this. So I'm going to play it in the video. It should be here. Okay. And I'm going to put my microphone. So as I said, I recommend you, maybe you need to turn up your volume for this.
Hi everyone, my name is Cassie, and I'm here today to discuss a project I have been working with my mentor, Abi the Marwick and Wonder. And our main goals of this project is to allow Uyuni to manage the Snap package, include create a Snap channel and manage the Snap channel on the Uyuni software channel, and list all available Snap package on a channel, and handle Snap package management in air gap mode. You may be wondering why we are focusing on Snap. Snap a great alternative to traditional package format like RPM or DB for a few key reasons. The first one is the cross distribution. Snap can run on many different Linux distros, including Ubuntu, Debian, Fedora, and SUSE. And it had simple dependency. They bound all necessary dependency with the package itself, which help and avoid dependency hell and issues with out-state system library. Also, it is a sandbox, so which improve the security. However, it do have some drawback. The first one is require large space because they bonded all the library together. Also, it rely on the central storage, which could be a challenge in the air-gap mode. And integrate snap swap into the Uyuni present a few unique challenges. The first one is that unlike the DB repository, which have public metadata index and the package list Excel available through a single URL, the Snap Store uses a server-side API that cannot public document for bulky access. This isn't a simple endpoint to mirror or list all packages from a single URL. And the challenge too is that for the offline installation, a Snap binary must be accomplished by assertion chains, so Snap can verify its associations. As a minimum, it requires a Snap revisor assertion. And to address this challenge, we developed a user workflow. A user would open the Uyuni web page UI to create a channel, and then they create a Snap repository by selecting package from pre-download table and binding the repository to a channel. And the Uyuni would download the required file on demand, which includes the Snap binary, also a set of assertion. And for the installation, it has a sort master and a menu, and the sort master copy the snap file and the assertion to the menu, and the menu then uses snap ACK to acknowledge the assertion and proceed snap install. Here is a small demo for the update. So I want to demonstrate how snap channel can be synced in this in my work. First, it's very similar to the existing logic. First, create a channel like snap stable demo and give him a name, a label name, and then do the select the architecture. This is the one I already insert into the database, so it can show and render from the front end, and very basic information should be input. Also the repo, I create a snap repo. It is the tab is snap, and the URL is not necessary in this time because we cannot use a URL to fetch the snap data. But at this stage, it still appear. Just do not keep it blank, but you can input any URL in this place, and then we can link it to the channel and the repo together, and we can do the snap repo sync right now. But because my PC space is not large enough, and I cannot download a lot of the binary, so I just limit maybe about just two. And then let me show the space repo sync -c channel label and -t the repo tab. It will cost some time because it needs time to do the download, and also it needs time to fetch the information from the snapcraft to the our local repo. And yeah, I think it's successfully. Let's check the website. It showed it had two package, and we click it. This is the two package we download, and also another we can check on the database. This is the the reposing part, and we can start the sort part. Currently, we have this snap package in the menu. I already prepared a sort state for it, and just let's run the sort state apply. It also need to cost some time. And after run this, the package, the binary will be moved from the master to the menu. Also, it also execute the snaps install. It will cost some time. Okay, I think it worked. And let's see the menu. Yeah, we can see the Azure idle identifies and the gene10b. Yeah, these two files already moved to it. So that's all the information I want to update. And that's all the information I want to update. Thanks for listening.
Okay, I'm setting back the settings of the volume so for not being too loud for you now, hopefully. And yeah, thanks to Kathy. So Siwen has something to say. So
Hello, thanks, Raul. Okay, let me share my screen. I don't have a slide, but I have a board.
okay, so you are going already with your presentation because you're next. It's about extract and containerized Uyuni Salt Event Processor. So the stage is all yours.
Sure, thank
Just
you.
on the snap package
Yeah.
thing, I've been told last week that Ubuntu doesn't allow to change the URL to the snap repository, so that you cannot just like we do with zipper or DNF or what define the Uni server as the source of the snap packages and then just apply them from the minion.
Okay, thanks for the remark. And I'll go with questions about both presentations after this one. So Siwen, if you can share your screen like before.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see it
Hi,
very well.
Cedric. Just want to say hi to Cedric. um, okay.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Raul. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Because for my project, the final product is quite clear. It's easy to demo. So I think I'm not more focused on the implementation of my project today. So and also the takeaway. And so for the last couple months, I've been working with Cedric and Ricardo on trying to turn the Uyuni event processor into a microservice like other existing service. And there are only some final work left, so it's almost done there. And so in order to understand why we do this, I want to first walk through the architecture of the event processor right now, so that I can explain why we do that and why we designed it like this. And as we all know that Uyuni is using the source stack for infra management right now. And we have like many servers. They serve or like a minion, and then for each minion they send the event to the submaster. So the submaster is like an event bus to process all these events, and then after the event come into the system, we store the event into the database, and then all the events will get processed by the event processing logic afterward. And based on this, we know that the current problem is the saw event processor is started only when the Tomcat server is started. So it's not like independent. It's totally embedded in the Tomcat server. So the limitation for us right now is that we can't scale the event processor independently, and also we can't like manage its life cycle independently. And So the whole process, the whole purpose of our project is to try to decouple out the event processor so that it can be containerized into a microservice. So we have more control over it, and yeah, and this is the initial purpose of our project. And after knowing the limitation, we the first thing we want to do is to understand how the most challenging part is to understand the dependency of the whole event processor, because we want to decouple it out from the Tomcat server. And that's I think that's the most challenging part. So after the event comes into the database, it's processed into batch, and it's poured into batch by the listener, and then the listener will distribute the batches into the thread pool, and then different event handlers will pour the events out and process it, and the event will get processed by different business logic afterward. So we have many instances here, and all the instances are started by the salt reactor. So the salt reactor is the main orchestrator of the event processing logic. And so this salt reactor is now started. It was started by the Tomcat server. So it's embedded in the servlet listener. And so this is the dependency, and after we understand that, the most important thing is to break this dependency. So that was what we did, and we disabled the interface in the Tomcat server, and then we created a independent entry point for the salt reactor, and then now it's decoupled from the listener, and then we can start it independently. But it's reusing all the critical dependencies of the original critical dependencies. So the good thing is that we don't need to write the whole thing and again, and also it have more independent. And so after this, we are ready to package this processor and to deploy it. So it's now fully integrated into the Uyuni tools, and the MGRADM tools can install this salt event processor right now as a independent service. And it's and also we can do all the lifecycle management for the event processing. And let me demo it. It's quite straightforward. So we can see that we are having this flag right now. So we can install the event processor through the MGRADM tools, and then we can manage the lifecycle of it. Yeah. And we are also making sure that this whole pattern is reusable for other event processors. So if there is other event processor, we can reuse this tool. And also after doing this, we did some test, and I try to register a minion and make sure that the whole event processing logic is preserved. It's not it's not affecting other service when it's stopped. So yeah. So and there are something I want to discuss is that right now there are some limitation. We only enforce one replica of the event processor, because which means we can only start one instance of the salt reactor, and we can't have multiple listeners right now, because the salt event processing code was not designed in the first place for distributed processing. So if we start multiple instances here, it's likely that we can disrupt the event processing order. And so that's what we want to avoid. So that's why we enforce only one replica right now. Yeah, but based on the user case, like adding multiple replica is not a priority, but it's the work that we can consider later. And also, this decoupling is only a runtime decoupling. It's not it's the event processor is still sharing many dependencies, like many service, like the database, and also sharing the configuration. So it's only a runtime decoupling. And yeah, and I think that's it for the project. Yeah, this is a link for my project, and the docs are all there. If you are interested, you can check out. And I also want to say thank you to Cedric and Ricardo, and also the Uyuni community. It's been a very great experience, and they've been very supportive along the way. And I have learned a lot through through this project. Yeah, and I look forward to more contribution later. Yeah.
So thanks a lot, Siwen. So
Thank you.
any question for Siwen or even for the regarding the previous presentation, because Kathy is not here, but maybe it's one of her mentors or any of the developers can answer that. So Victor has something to mention or to ask.
No, I accidentally clicked wrong button. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. But Jan does want to ask something, maybe?
Yeah, I have a question about the first session. I don't know if there's anyone who can answer that. But my question is, why did we need to define a new architecture just for Snap? Because yeah, if I saw correctly in the web UI, we have just alternative architectures added now. Just I think it was AMD64 Snap.
Is maybe any of her mentors around?
Sadly, we have none of the mentors here.
Okay. So yeah, I guess we can. Ricardo.
Just to try to answer. So this Snap implementation is still to be discussed. If we should follow the approach of this one is proof of concept and one possible approach, but you need to discuss better if you want to put that on software channels as we have right now, or have some other approach on that one, and that will influence the architecture that will be defined in there if it's needed or not. So don't take it as the architectural definitive guide to follow on that regard, because that is still to be seen.
Okay, thank you, Ricardo. Hope that helps with your question, Jan. Any other question?
Well, just a remark that the Siemens project to decoupling further the salt event listener would require the Maven refactoring that is under progress. So as soon as that pull request is merged, we can probably think a bit further on this one, but for now not. And we also need to think about improvements in all the work, the event queues that we have in there that are now somehow duplicated, and it's a mess, a real mess. So further cuts would be interesting, but probably quite hard.
Okay, thanks for the remark. And I would say we go to the next presentation, which is the last one. So Jan is presenting RBAC, role-based access control. So Jan, stage is yours. If you want to share your screen, I see something.
Thanks, Raul. Yeah, you should be able to see it now, hopefully.
It seems to be empty. So you're sharing something, but it shows nothing.
Okay, let me try again.
Okay, now yes, I can see your slides.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, welcome everyone to our Uyuni community hours. So today I'm going to talk to you about the new role-based access control feature in Uyuni, which has been released, if I remember correctly, first on 25.05. And since then, in the final 25.07, we've fixed a lot of issues around it. So if you have the latest version of Uyuni, you already have this, are using this, and hopefully you're not hitting any bugs around it. So let's start. First of all, what I have today is an introduction to our RBAC in Uyuni. Sorry about the branding. So I have this slide already presented for Multi-Linux Manager, but everything applies the same in Uyuni as well. So I'm going to talk about how we implement the user roles in new role-based access control, and then I will talk about the concept of namespaces in scope of RBAC, and then I will show you how to manage RBAC via the API, which is already in the released. So far, at this moment, we don't have the UI for RBAC released yet, but for today, I'm going to try to show you some sneak peek of how it would look like. So in the demo, we will do some simple processes with the RBAC web UI. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about troubleshooting. Since this is a new feature, it's perfectly possible that you might hit some blocks on your day-to-day work. So I will give you a couple of tips to troubleshoot any problems you might come across. So role-based access control for enhanced security. So the main goals or main guidelines we used in implementing this is summarized as these: the principle of least privilege and granular control of all the different bits and pieces, mainly the features, and separation of duties between different users, user groups, or departments, and of course, finally, auditability on who did what. So in Uyuni, the RBAC implementation we did depends on a centralized authorization of endpoints. I mean, every individual endpoint in Uyuni is governed by RBAC now, including both the web UI and the API. That brings us to granular control of access. So you have a absolute freedom on how to restrict access for your users. And like I said, every individual endpoint is governed by RBAC. That means we have, I guess, almost 2,000 different endpoints in MLM. So this to do this manually per endpoint would be close to impossible. So we organize all these endpoints into namespaces, and these namespaces are created in terms of like the feature itself, or some individual page, or in case of API, a single API endpoint. So about these namespaces, I will talk in detail a little bit later. And finally, users are assigned to roles, just as we have had before. So how is it gonna look like in the new RBAC style, the user role? So to make the transition as smooth as possible for people, for existing Uyuni instances, we um, we are we kept using the old roles. They are now transferred to the RBAC system, but still the existing roles are still available there. There is almost no change in terms of access with these roles. Like there are some minor bits that was impossible to transfer to the RBAC structure, but overall you should not experience any difference in the access levels with these existing roles. So with RBAC, what we are adding is, on top of these predefined roles that we've always had, now you are able to create any number of new roles, optionally inheriting from these existing roles and doing any kind of changes that you want. So this is an overview of what we have. This is not like I said, different than the older versions. So on the left side, if you look at that, we have two privileged roles. One is the Uyuni admin. the super user, and second of all is the organization admin. The difference between those is the Uyuni admin, the administrator of the whole instance of deployment across organizations, and the organization admin is the admin user inside of a single organization. And in the middle row, middle column, we have the existing roles that you might be familiar with. All of these were existing from before, and there's no change in this. And on the right side, there's this new addition of a new role called regular user. And now, any standard user without um, any extra privilege belong to this regular user group now. And the reason is that now we are controlling access to every endpoint which were available for every user before. Since now we control access to these endpoints as well, so you will need this regular user role to be added to your user to basically access anything. So if you don't have this regular user for your user, then you will be greeted with a 401 right at the landing page. So the namespaces. So this is the most important bit of information for an administrator, probably. So this using namespaces is how you control access, how you grant access to your users and groups and everything. So this by creating these namespaces, we aim for the most fine-grained access control as possible, while also trying to keep it manageable. So we organize these namespaces in a tree-like structure, and then we further separated it by access modes, view and modify. In the bottom, you see an example of an RBAC namespace. So when we look at it on the on the top level, we have the part of this namespace called systems, which corresponds to everything under systems management. So namespaces are basically some dot separated strings organized in a tree structure, like I said, and the top levels of these are always the main features of Uyuni. For example, systems management is one of the basic main features of Uyuni. Another one could be image for image management. Another one would be software for everything related to software. And down at the second level, we have the details that specifies the sub feature, basically, so managing the details of the system. So these two levels specifies like systems.details basically specify everything under the system details pages that you see in the web UI. And when we go to the bottom, there are three different examples here for the child level of this namespaces. First up, we have this overview. And if you notice here, we have two modes for this. So if you, for example, enable access to systems.details.overview in the view only mode, that means you will be able to display the system overview page in the view mode. If you enable this access in the modify mode, then in addition to displaying the system details page, you will be able to edit the system properties. Alternatively, we have systems.details.reboot and systems.details remote commands, and both of these namespaces give access to do the specified thing as written there. And another difference is, like, for reboot and remote commands, we don't have a separation of view and modify because these two are obviously some modify commands. So there are some namespaces that have both view and modify when applicable, or there are some namespaces that are only a single type of access. So here in the next page, I have a more comprehensive example. So this corresponds to all of the namespaces that exist in the image management top level feature in the Uyuni. So if you look at the left column, you see the dot separated strings of namespaces. The first part of it is CM is a corresponds to content management, the original name we had for image management. And on the right, you can see the description of which each namespace does according to the different access modes we have. So this is actually a complete set of namespaces in the image management feature. So you can expect something similar for different features as well. So how do we manage access via the API? So as we still don't have the UI release, I thought it would be better to start with the API. It's actually pretty straightforward. We have this new API namespace called access. You can find it in the API docs if you go over there. We have a bunch of methods to do anything that we need to manage RBAC. So for example, so list namespaces is a method to list all the available namespaces in Uyuni. Um, so what you get here is the list of actual namespaces together with their descriptions. So descriptions are pretty important here because otherwise the namespaces themselves are quite cryptic sometimes. List permissions similarly lists permitted namespaces overall. So you have a role, maybe a custom one, maybe a default one, and you want to know which namespaces this role gives access to. This is the method to call in the API. And then we have the list roles to list all the existing roles in the Uyuni instance. And then we have create and delete role endpoints to basically do those. Of course, everything here actually also possible in the gonna be possible in the web UI, and I'm gonna show you how to do it on the UI in a demo in a second. But these are basically all the API methods we have. On top of the access namespace, we have a bunch of new endpoints in the user namespace. This is an existing namespace in the API, so it's one of the older ones. But we have these following new endpoints to support RBAC from the user side. So list permissions lists the permissions of a user. Not so we have also list permissions in this namespace, but this one lists all namespaces overall. But this it takes a user as an input parameter, and it lists you all the access granted to this user effectively. So this list permissions here might combine might combine namespaces for multiple roles if the user is assigned to all of them. List roles is again to list the user's assigned roles, and then we have add and remove methods for that as well. So with that, I'm going to switch over to demo. Like I said, this everything I'm going to show you hasn't been released yet. It's still work in progress, so there might be some rough edges, but I will try to explain everything as I go. So here I have a multi-Linux manager setup, which is equivalent to latest release Uyuni plus some features in development, including RBAC UI. So I'm logged in as the administrator user now. So first of all, the RBAC UI is available only to Uyuni administrators, not even the org admins, because the Uyuni administrator is able to manage roles across organizations. So what I would first do is I would go and see what users I have. So I have a testing user here that I will use for this demo. And if you go to the roles section, it's almost similar to what we had before, except the addition of this regular user. So by the way, if you are migrating or migrated from an older version to an RBAC enabled version, all the users are properly migrated so that they inherit this regular user role, so that they keep the existing access that had before. So when you create a new user, this regular user always comes up with selected. So what happens if I update this user with no absolute roles? So let me try to show you that. Is this yep. Let's try if I can. So, of course, when I don't have any roles available, I would straight away get an access denied. So there has to be at least one role assigned to every user to make it meaningful. So I'm gonna go back and add the, oops. Okay, so it seems that I cannot stay logged in with different users at the same time. Let me try it like this. Okay. Wait to testing, add the regular user role and save it. And now Now I have back the access back. So let's go ahead and try creating some new custom roles. So the new UI exists inside of the admin section, and it is called access control. So when I click onto it, it brings me to the page for access group management. And the list I see is empty only because the default roles are not part of the management interface, and they're hidden here. So this list only shows you the custom access groups. Let's go ahead and create one. So that brings me to a multi-step form here. So the first step is the general details of the access group. So let's say regular user or restricted um, restricted image user. I don't know. Um, So of course I need to pick an organization for this role to go in. And here's the place that I can select any existing um, role to copy the permissions from. This is a good place to start because even though we grouped multiple endpoints in terms of namespaces, there are still a lot of namespaces to cover the whole product. So it's usually a good idea to start from an existing one. Like depends on your goal, on your what you need to do. But for my demo, I think this image administrator. Yeah, that's what I want to write. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to create a role which is similar to image administrator, but I'm going to just restrict it a little bit more. So I don't want some specific thing. I want some specific things to be left out from this. So the best way to do this for me is the image administrator. I can select multiple roles here. In this case, I will start with all the access combined from all of these roles, and then I can keep editing it. But for now, I think this image administrator is enough. Okay, so this is the first step. And this is the main page that you would browse all the namespaces. So um, first thing to notice is here on top, we have a search bar, which is not fully implemented as of now, but eventually this will be a full text search that you can search for any, not only for namespace names, which doesn't make too much sense. Sometimes like this, but you can also search for descriptions like a full text search through the descriptions would mean that you can just write this what you need to have access for, like build images, for example, then you will be able to see what namespace you need to give access to. You can further filter by the API namespaces or web UI namespaces. That means we have separate namespaces for the web UI and API. For example, you might want to have an image administrators without any kind of API access for some reason. In that case, you can keep the image permissions in the web UI enabled, but you can disable them. Actually, this should work. So you can disable the API for them. So you can mix and match, or you can just create a API only user by disabling everything under the web UI. So what we wanted to do is like, yeah, start with a let me go back, and so it's resets. So this is the table you see, and the checkbox is selected already corresponds to what the original image administrator has. That's because I chose to copy it from the existing one. So these are all pre-selected according to what an image administrator actually have access to. So let's say I don't want this user to be able to build images. It can do anything else, but not build images. So what I would usually go is build. I start typing, and let's open up some levels here. So what it shows us. So this is still not filtered enough. So first I would select only web UI, and then you can see. Okay, so yeah, this is not a full text search yet, but it's on the way. Anyway, so the thing I'm interested in is in this. See, I'm like in the slides, there was a table explaining all the CM namespaces. So cm.build is the namespace I'm looking for to let my user not be able to build images. So I deselect that and I click continue. And then this is an optional step if I want to add my users to this group automatically, but I can do it later from the user's own page as well. So I'm going to just select and add the initial users that I want to be a part of this role, and then I go ahead and create. So now if I go back to the testing user, I can already see that this my new group is available here. By the way, this is not the name of this the role, but the description of it. So to see the effects of it, let's go and change some more in the roles. Access control. So I go back to this page to edit this access level of this access group, and I want to do before that. Let me show you. So have a careful look at the left menu bar. So this is the left menu bar of my admin, and this is the left menu bar of my testing account. So only difference right now is the missing admin names, admin tab. So admin tab is only available for the Uyuni admin, so that's obvious. So there's no way to do that. But otherwise, there's it can access to everything. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to disable access to a few of the main features. So let's start with content lifecycle image management. So I don't want this user to have anything to do with image management. Plus, let's see what else. Maybe audit. I don't want this user to do anything with audit as well. So I'll just go ahead and update this. So now I'm back at my testing account. I can see audit and images here. So I just need to click refresh, or sorry, log out and log back in. Whoops, I can still see it. What did I miss? What I missed is this user still has also the regular user as access. So now regular user covers more than this. So these role assignments work only additively. So this is also important to mention. So I remove regular user, only test instead. So let me see. Yes. So now you can, on the left menu bar, you can see the images are missing. So that means UI is going to be also restricted. So you won't be able to see most menu items that you don't have access to, but this doesn't apply to the whole product. So some or actually most of the UI is not RBAC aware yet, and this is a long process to make the whole UI RBAC aware. So RBAC actually controls the endpoints that does the tasks. So it's not always reflected to rendering of the UI. So sometimes you will see around some links that you don't really have access to. In that case, you will end up with a 401 page. But at least for the left menu bar, we implemented so that you see only the items that you have access to. And that's all I wanted to show in terms of UI. So I will go back to these slides, but before I go on, I think it's a good time to take any questions if you have, especially about the UI.
Yeah, we're conscious about the time. There are a couple of them. Well, there are mainly recognition and happiness about the feature and so on. But Christian was asking, when will the UI land in Uyuni and SUSE Multi-Linux Manager?
So yeah, we are in the final phase of releasing it, so it's almost done. So I would confidently say the next maintenance update for MLM will have this, and I don't know which Uyuni version um, will be equivalent of that row.
Uh, Are you going to merge the code before mid of October?
I would say yes.
In that case, it would go into the next Uyuni release. depending on the freeze dates and so on. But yeah, I would say if you make it in the first half of October, it would go into the next release of Uyuni.
Okay, let's hope for the best then. Okay, so it seems no other questions. So I will very, very quickly go over the couple final slides. So this is quite important for admins actually. So first tip of troubleshooting is the infamous 403 page. So like I already mentioned in the web UI, sometimes you will find some links that you don't have actually access to. So in that case, it will end up with a 403 response. And if you have some, if you want to know which endpoint calls this, you can check the Tomcat logs for a 403 response, and from there you can easily debug the problem. Second one, let me pass this one since we don't have too much time. So these are some useful database views. Some of these actually are only for convenience. We don't even use them in the code, but these are some views that summarizes everything in the database. So if you want to check out the source of truth of any access configuration, these are the views to browse. And finally, this is very, very important. So RBAC is bypassed altogether for the Uyuni administrator role. So if you are the Uyuni admin, you won't be restricted at all with RBAC. This is important because we still, unfortunately, have bits and pieces that have not been mapped properly to RBAC. I mean, we fix them as soon as we find out about them, but it's still possible that you might hit a least used page that you're unnecessarily blocked. In that case, switching to the Uyuni admin is the ultimate solution. So finally, the next steps is, of course, we talked about RBAC UI, which will be hopefully available in the next versions of both MLM and Uyuni. But the other things that we related to this are the redesign of the users pages. As you saw in the UI, the UI page is not actually, so these role section is not actually very user friendly. When the number of roles goes bigger, this list just goes bigger. So we want to change this UI, and we are going to actually do a complete overhaul with this UI with the new React components. And finally, the namespace descriptions are not all there yet. It's also a very time-consuming process to write meaningful descriptions to all 800 something namespaces, and that is also on the way. So expect that in a couple of releases as well. And with that, that's the end of my presentation. So I can still take any more questions if you have time. I don't know, but that's it for me.
Okay, something that Ricardo was mentioning, what were you saying about only Multi-Linux Manager 5.1? That for Multi-Linux Manager, it will only be in 5.1, not
Exactly.
lower versions. But for Uyuni, of course, it will be there, right?
Exactly. So
Okay, okay.
this is not part
Misunderstood.
of SUSE Linux Manager 5.0. Okay.
Okay, yeah, yeah, and it's completely expected. But for community users, don't worry, Uyuni will have everything. So, any question from the community? Anyone about these features, about my part of the upcoming release, or about the Google Summer of Code projects? Okay, I think I can take it as a no. So, in that case, let me go back to my slides. Yeah, in that case, we are done. Thanks a lot, everyone, for attending. I would say happy hacking. See you in the next edition, hopefully next month, and have a nice rest of the day. I will stop the recording here.